Hey everyone, you're listening to the Sailing to Success podcast show where we share practical tips and strategies to help you be more productive and profitable in your business. I'm Lindsay Phillips, founder of Smooth Sailing Business Growth, and I'll be your host and captain for this 30-minute excursion. Today we'll be learning from Peter Lisoskie of Chatbot Nation. So find out what chatbots are, what relationship experience technology is, and how it can really help increase your customer engagement, your leads, and conversions. So let's get started. Hey, as mentioned, folks, we have Peter Lisoskie. He's a founding partner of Third Way Technologies and Chatbot Nation. He helps companies to deploy chatbots for leads, sales, e-commerce, and customer service. He actually runs a business incubator and hangs out with neuroscientists. How cool is that? And has written a line of code or two if it brings a product to life. He's really innovative and really creative. And I'll wait till Peter explains it because I cannot. But the technology really fosters a more humanized and connected relationship experience between people and brands using the chatbots. And I know it's he has to explain it. I wish you could see, because he showed me some things online the other day, which is really, really cool. So why don't we just dive in, Peter? And because honestly, it is hard to kind of explain what it is because it's so visual. So how would you explain in layman's terms, what a chatbot is?
Well, first of all, thanks for having me on your show. I really appreciate it, Lindsay. And all you guys listening out there, we're going to have some fun here. Chatbots really, to start with as a 101, they're really software services or a software program that simulates human conversation. And that's where everything is going now in the future, Lindsay, on the internet. It's no longer just about graphical user interface. It's about these conversational user interfaces, which we're developing because they don't exist. So that ties into this RET or relationship experience technology. My whole life has been about product development, and everything that I've worked on and everything that we've created has always been about, well, how do you create that human connection?
Yeah.
Technology, right? Because in my opinion, if you don't do that, technology is not really good.
No, and it can feel really cold, right? I mean, email and, direct messaging and social media, sometimes you feel like that human element is a little bit missing.
Yeah. And a lot of times too, when you get people who don't use it the right way, and there are some, I'm sure some of you guys, there's some leading internet marketers and podcasters that are using it the wrong way. And I've heard a lot of people complaining about that. What happens, Lindsay, typically in every technology is there's always in this early phase, we call it early adopter, there's this backlash.
Mm-hmm.
It happened when the internet started. It happens with all new technologies, and there's going to be a backlash coming where people are going to say, chatbots are dumb. I'm not using them. They annoy me. I don't want any part of them. But what will happen is, and hopefully we'll be part of that, is the right way will kind of rise out of the ashes.
Yeah.
And that's why we focus, and I tell people all the time, this is not about chatbots. It's not about, right now there's over 150 platforms out there, and I could name a bunch of them.
Oh, really?
Where you can easily create chatbots, but that's not what this is about.
Right.
This is about creating that human connected experience. I go back, I mean, you guys can see me, so you can kind of reveal my age here, but I go back to the time before computers, and I will never forget the day in our company, because I used to run, I was an engineering manager, and then I ran divisions for companies, but I'll never forget, Lindsay, the very first day we got our Mac Pluses. Remember those beige boxes that were out when computers first came? And we pulled those out of the box, and, you turn on the screen, and now this thing lights up, and there's these folders and these icons. And, for people that have ever had like the iPhone or whatever it is, you have almost an emotional experience with that product. And that's the essence of relationship experience technology, is how do you create this engaging, interactive, emotional experience with a technology, and that's why it's so powerful. We use interactive animated characters that are talking. We create, and you saw that in some of the demos, and that's what really people love. And if you want, I can tell you the story about kind of how RET came into existence with Wilson and all that. I think I discussed that a little bit.
Oh yeah, that's right. No, that does kind of put that personal aspect to an inanimate object.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's way more. I mean, you guys, a lot of you probably remember when Microsoft had that little paperclip thing.
I was just going to say that. It
Yeah.
totally reminds me of that little,
And
I mean,
people, yeah, it's
that
kind of like
dates
that,
me.
except for we took it to a whole other level. So I'll just tell you guys a quick story since we're on this. I told this to Lindsay. This was the big aha for me that kind of helped us figure out what RET should be and what's it all about. So I had started, I had initially started way back last May, and in technology terms, that's like a long time ago. But I had this little, I have a health and wellness center in our business holdings. So I started with this little emoji con called Chase, because we didn't have, I mean, then, now we have fully, we have animators, we have script writers, we have all this. But back then, I gave him a personality. He was kind of sassy, kind of snarky. But we used him for a contest in our wellness center for a free wellness day. And what happened is it did really well. We got a 13-to-1 ROI, all that business stuff. But people were telling me, like, Chase was kind of funny. I liked him. They didn't talk about him as a bot. They talked about him as Chase, right? So I was like, okay, something's going on here. So then fast forward, I met my partner, Jamie J from Slapshot Studio. He came into my Facebook group, Chatbot Nation, which I have. You guys can join if you want. And he was on John Lee Dumas's show on Entrepreneur on Fire, and he has a lot of listeners, as you know. And so we gave away a free website and a free chatbot. And so I told Jamie, I said, Jamie, look, I've got this idea. I want to create something that's like totally over the top, that's entertaining, almost like a game show. Mm-hmm. And so I had been watching that TV show Survivor with my girlfriend Patricia on TV the night before. So that was my big idea. It's like, okay, why don't we do something like a Survivor? So we did that. But what we did is that Jamie and I talked with our brand architect, Jared, and we came up with the idea of using Wilson, the volleyball from Castaway, the movie.
Yeah.
Because it was, think about that, right? Tom Hanks, there was no humans. So he had this relationship with this inanimate object, right? This volleyball. And so we thought of, okay, that's perfect, because we don't want to have people think of chatbots as bots, and they can't be humans. They have to be this third thing, right? So Wilson was the embodiment, the personification of that. So Wilson was the MC for this Survivor-like challenge. I built this huge chatbot. It was a guided conversation, but they could do like a beach challenge or a hiking or fishing challenge.
Right.
Well, what happened was we had we had really good results. We have like 94% of the people finish this entire, like, it's almost a 5-minute challenge.
So this is by text, though? Like the challenge is by, like,
yeah, that's a good question, Lindsay. So what happened is when they clicked on the link, it popped up in Facebook Messenger app.
Oh, okay.
So it immediately Wilson started talking to them and interacting, and they went through the challenge. If you guys want to see the Wilson demo, you can. It's over at slapshotstudio.com/chatbots. Wilson's still over there. He's hanging out. Take the challenge. But here's the thing that just blew us away. We had over 110 people personally write us emails and say, that Wilson guy was hilarious. I loved him. He cracked me up. Do you guys have like Wilson 2 coming out? Do you have any other chatbots? And again, they did not refer to Wilson as a bot. They referred to Wilson, who was this thing that they interacted with, almost human-like. And that was the dawn of RET.
And to have that, like that animated character that kind of brought personality to it, made it fun, versus just getting like a DM that's like, hey, now you need to do this, or have you ate your Wheaties today, or whatever it is. It's like, ooh, what's the little character going to tell me tomorrow?
Well, and it's very true. And that's, guys, the right way. And if you've been into you should, if you go to our demos, you'll see it, because this is the way we do it anyway. But first of all, the reason why chatbots are superior to any other form of marketing now going down the road is, number one, they're instant. Mm-hmm. Not like email, where you got to go over to your inbox, open your email, find it, and all that stuff. They're also user-driven. So we let them, every good chatbot, you should be able to pick your own journey, kind of like a storybook, choose your own story.
Choose your own adventure books.
Yeah. Or now for you guys that are, well, but if you're a little younger, then it's choose your own venture, like in video games like Zelda. Right? So it's the same kind of thing, but you're choosing what you want to see. We're not shoving something down your throat. That's the way marketing and advertising has always been. We're making a total shift now, where you guys get to choose. Now, what happens in the chatbot, Lindsay, which is really cool, is we can do tagging in the background. So what we can put based on what they choose, we can
Mhm.
tag and put them in market buckets. So
Ooh.
going back to my wellness center, when we had Chase interact with them, they entered the contest. We had like 424 people that did that. But Chase started asking them, hey, would it be okay if I ask you kind of like what's going on with your body? Are you in pain? Are you an
Right.
athlete? Are you stressed? And from that, then we put them in these buckets. They went through a little quiz. And then we gave them like a pain management guide, for example. But now we know, and Chase speaks to those people who are in pain. He doesn't talk to them about athletic performance because they have back pain or something that's going
Right.
on, right?
Right.
That's the power of this is they
That
choose
makes
their
total
journey.
sense.
Yeah, and it's everything is going to change for all of you guys that are doing email marketing or webinars. One size fits all will not work anymore. You have to speak right to your audience. And I will tell you guys listening on Lindsay's show, if I have anything to do with it, chatbots are going to be the end of email. Like email was the end of fax. It's coming. And I'm glad because I hate email. It's in the noise. There's too much of it. And a lot of you guys probably get too much of it too and are annoyed. I don't know if you know this, Lindsay. The average U.S. American gets 121 emails a day now.
Oh, mine's more.
Yeah, mine is way more. I get like 400. But that's the
Yeah.
average American. That's like the little old lady sitting in her
That's
house. Like
retarded.
my
That's
mom.
ridiculous. Oh my God.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's out of control, and it's noise. Right? So you got to find a way to rise above the noise, and that's what these interactive RET chatbots can do.
So what kind of applications? I mean, I get like for marketing, so you can segment your list and target them with specific information that interests them. And obviously just getting that sense of engagement with your company in general. What other applications are there for it?
Well, yeah, the most practical that we use, and we do a lot of building for clients to create this interactive experience, is leads.
Yeah.
So if you're a company and you're spending money on email marketing or Facebook ads or social media marketing or SEO, you can drive people from that initial traffic into the chatbot. Now, what's cool about it, Lindsay, is once a person taps on a button or types something in, they're on your bot list, just like an email list.
Right. So by taking a specific action, it triggers them being put into the chatbot campaign, if you will.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. You got it. And you can do autoresponder sequences. Now, I will tell you the right way to do it is to let them know that they're subscribing. And if they want to opt out like a text message, they can. Now, see, we don't, in text messages, we have TCPA guidelines. You can get sued for sending people text messages. They don't have that yet in chatbots. It's coming.
Oh, it will. Absolutely.
It will. Because people will get mad enough, because some of these people are once you give stuff to marketers, sometimes they just go nuts with it. And I've seen it. But at the same time, what's nice is, think about this. You can develop a lead. A lead can come in. They can choose their own journey. So now you're speaking to that person, what they're interested in. Now you want to make it educational. You want to make it engaging and entertaining, right? That's the whole idea with this, what we do with these animated characters. And then you can serve them up educational tips. Now, my recommendation is don't do more than once a week, but you can serve them tips. Like if, let's say you're a chiropractor, you could serve them tips on how to have a healthy spine. And if it's something they chose, they're going to want to see that. If you are a nutritional or fitness coach, you can serve them educational tips on how to eat cleaner, for example. So depending on the business, doing something like that based on what they chose, you're going to have a much higher chance of them engaging with the chatbot and engaging with you. I mean, we get typically, Lindsay, over 80% open rates and over 50 or 60% click-through rates. So if you compare that to email, that's it's unbelievable. But it's because it's all of this. It's instant, it's user-driven, it's engaging, it's entertaining. And it builds that relationship. That's what RET is about.
Yeah. So does it, just so I understand it correctly, so it's through Facebook messaging, or are there like other avenue text? Is it through that as well, or just strictly Facebook direct messaging?
That's actually a really good question. You can do what they call multi-channel, and we do this. So we build Facebook Messenger, obviously, is one because there's 2 billion people on Facebook.
Everyone's there. Oh my God.
Yeah. But we build customer service chatbots on websites. with JavaScript wrappers.
Right.
And we actually have a client that's the largest hot tub manufacturer in the country that we're building a customer service chatbot for them on their website, because I didn't know this, but after talking with the general manager of the plant, he came up with that idea actually, which was like, wow. But I found out that almost a quarter of all the questions are redundant. They're level
Yeah.
one. And so if in the average salary of a customer service rep in the United States and Canada is about $44,000 a year. So if you can save, one person, that's a significant savings to your bottom line for a company. But going back to the other multi-channel, we can develop for WeChat, WhatsApp, Slack, Kik,
Oh,
Telegram.
okay.
So if I have a client, say over in China, they're more on WeChat or WhatsApp than Facebook
Right.
Messenger. So we can develop for, that part of the world.
Interesting. And so what types of businesses would you say that it's suitable for? Like, are there some businesses, like, does it need to be a large business? Like you were saying, that big hot tub manufacturer. I imagine for bigger companies that have like a high volume of customer service. But are there certain applications that are better for different types of industries or types of businesses?
Well, that's really good. A good question. There's a couple ways to go here. If you are a solo entrepreneur or home-based business and you're just starting out, you can certainly, if you go to my website, chatbotnation.co, and click on Start Here, I have a do-it-yourself course. If you want to learn how to build your first lead bot in less than 5 days, you can do that.
Crazy.
That's not RET. It's not
Yeah.
creating the whole interactive with animated characters. If you're a larger, more established business, you can click on the Done For You. We can create a whole interactive experience. Now, the way I equate this, and the best way to look at it is related to phone apps. Okay, I'll tell you right now, because I in my business incubator, we build phone apps.
Mm-hmm.
But phone apps are not for small businesses. No one's going to download your phone app. It just is not going to happen unless you're Nike or Coca-Cola or
Right.
Airbnb or Uber. It's not happening. So because people aren't going to download your phone app, the chatbot is perfect to create that interactive conversation and brand experience. And if you look at phone apps, our phone app development starts at 25,000 and goes up to 2 million, depending on how complex.
Right. No involved.
Chatbots, we develop complete interactive animated characters, the whole interactive brand experience for between $3,000 and $15,000. So it's quite a bit less than if you were even to go develop a phone app for your business.
Right.
But it's something that if you feel like, wow, that might be out of my price range, then you probably want to do it yourself. And you can develop some basic, simple chatbots.
Mm-hmm.
And I talk about the different platforms and where you can go and how to do that. And I give you step-by-step instructions.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And so, I guess what I'm asking is, I get the whole like segmenting, asking them questions. Like, how else would you use it? To me, what comes to my mind is, like, can you use it for follow-up on sales? Is that doable?
Yeah, you can. Well, the best way to do this, if you're okay with it, Lindsay, is maybe why don't we, to personalize it, you can tell me about your business and I will give you some ideas on how you can use chatbots while the listeners are kind of following along. Would that work?
That works. So as you know, it's smoothbusinessgrowth.com.
Okay. And tell me a little bit. So as this is part of what we kind of do in a discovery call, tell me a little bit about your business, who your typical client is and what kind of products or services you have.
So we do content marketing, video, blogs, podcast production, social media, lead generation, webinar creation, anything that relates to content marketing.
Okay, great. So for example, we talked about the lead. So for your business, a good way to use that to present to your clients would be for webinar, for example. Mm-hmm. We can create a whole sales funnel where you can use, for example, Facebook Messenger ads at the very top end.
Right.
Pick your target, demographic, geographic, psychographic. Then it comes immediately into the chatbot. You may give away a lead magnet, and then that lead magnet it puts them on the bot list, but you can also collect their email address.
Yeah.
And then what you can do is you can send them over to the webinar page where they're signing up for the webinar. But it could be a specific marketing bucket webinar. Remember, you could have the same webinar with 95% of the content the same, but you're speaking to different audiences in that webinar, right? So based on the way the chatbot has segmented them, it will take them out to that specific webinar. They sign up for it. Once they hit submit and register, it can pop them right back into the chatbot, where now the chatbot is doing the thank you page. The chatbot is following up to remind them about the webinar when it's coming up. And you got to remember, this is superior to email, right? Because it's push notification. The window pops up. It notifies them. You can say, hey, an hour before 30. Yeah, it's right there. So it's like, oh, yeah. I want to go watch that webinar, that workshop, right? So that's an example where you could utilize that in your own business to take this interactive experience level for your clients that they haven't had before.
So basically you can mirror your sales funnel campaigns that you have in Infusionsoft or whatever, so that you can grab their attention effectively to get a higher conversion and so forth.
And we have, I'll tell you, for people that are doing online membership sites or courses, the chatbot can be the follow-up accountability partner. Because you know the dirty little secret about, courses, 95% of the people don't finish them, right? But if the chatbot was there and it was fun and jovial and say, hey, you have this lesson for the week if it's like a drip. I actually, one of my characters I showed you, Chase, he's this little endearing, robot guy. He's this animated character. He actually teaches inside of one of my membership courses. Yeah, he's a teacher in there. He's got his graduation hat on. He's got a pointer, and he talks to people. But people love it because it's like it's interactive. It's not just me yakking on video. They have something fun, and then he asks them every once in a while. I'll pop up and go, "Hey, did you get your homework done for this week?" So that's another way you can use chatbots in business. Here's another example. We call these consumption bots. We're talking to the largest nutritional supplements company in Canada. And I think I talked to you about those messenger codes, right? They're like, messenger codes are like, let me look and see if I have one here. But they're like QR codes.
Yeah.
Yeah, here, I'll show everybody. Yeah, I have it on my desk here. Since we're on Zoom and you guys can all see this, if you look, that is a messenger code. There's my little guy Chase, but behind that is a whole chatbot. Now, what we're talking to them about is they're going to be putting those codes, which will have their logo, not Chase, in there, on their labels, and people can scan the code, and it gives them a whole interactive experience about how you consume the supplement. It could give them tips on nutrition, on other supplements that they might need. It could even give them a quiz that says, okay, based on this quiz, here's some other recommendations of other products that you might need.
So and that's just within Facebook, right? It's like a QR code for Facebook, basically.
Yeah, they have that's the Facebook code, the messenger code. I will tell you, Snapchat will be opening up theirs probably in the near future for the millennials, the 18 to 34s. And Microsoft, I have some buddies at Microsoft. They're not too far behind with LinkedIn. It's gonna be a little while, but I believe my prediction is they will open up LinkedIn's messaging app just like Facebook did for chatbots, and then there'll be messenger codes, and then now we're into the B2B market.
Because it seems like LinkedIn is, I don't know, a couple of steps behind everybody else.
Well, it's a Microsoft product. What can I say? No knock on you guys at Microsoft. All my buddies over there. You got to get with the program here.
That's awesome. And what kind of feedback are you getting from the people that are using the chatbots?
It's funny because I track the analytics, and that's why I talked about these, what are called conversational user interface standards, or CUI, which we're creating because they don't exist. And what's interesting is people, if you do it the right way, it's like what you said, Lindsay. If all you're doing is creating a text-based chatbot, that's like a text message. And people are going, well, why would I use that? I already do that in text messaging, right? But if you're creating something totally different, like we're doing with RET, that's fun, that has some humor, people love it. And I still get people writing me when I do something different or new or something for a client where they're like, this is hilarious. They come in on live chat and you can see them typing, and then I'll jump in and I'll answer them back. But the overall reaction has been phenomenal, and I think it's because people are having fun. We have so much stuff that we're getting hit with all the time with technology and our job and our family and our kids, and not that that's all bad, But it's like, if you could have something that pops up and cracks a joke or, makes you chuckle a little bit, it's like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Yeah.
Yeah, it grabs your attention for sure. And that's
Yeah.
the whole name of the game, right? With online marketing as well, because your attention is being pulled in 50 directions and graphics and videos and podcasts. There's a lot out there. So if you can take it one step up a notch to really effectively engage and grab people's attention, then you're ahead of the game.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. And, I read somewhere there's somewhere between like 4,000 and 10,000 marketing messages a person gets hit with a day. This is why
really?
it's crazy. Yeah. But this is why I've been doing neuroscience for over a decade now. And you read that in my bio. We apply, so RET is not just about animation. We're applying neuroscience. We're applying anthropology. We're applying noetic sciences. So it's a whole wrap of things that I've learned a lot with EEG and fMRI technologies. So this is not neurolinguistic programming, for you guys that do that, although I use some of that. This is about scientific data that's
Right.
peeking inside the brain, that's seeing how do we engage what's called the reward circuit that's in the limbic center in your brain. So we utilize some of these things too. And one of them, for example, just to give you, not to go like too scientific here, but there's a neurotransmitter hormone called oxytocin. Oxytocin is related to the relationship building.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain sensory inputs and things you can say that release oxytocin in the brain. So we utilize that because what do we want to do? We want to create a relationship between our little bot character and that person, right?
Yeah.
So we do utilize that, and it does help because they like, that's why I made Chase so endearing, like almost like a little child, and he's and he's crossed between Luigi and a child. So he does woohoo, he's like this little funny guy,
That's
and
hilarious.
people love him because he's simplistic and he has kind of a childlike attitude on things.
Well, it kind of reminds me of that. Remember that Disney movie called Wall-E? It's like, I don't even think there's talking in that movie, but it's like. And it doesn't even talk, but you love that little robot.
Yeah, you're exactly right. Or you guys will go way back, E.T. It's the same. You got it. You're exactly right, Lindsay. You get it, and that's what we're trying to embody. I mean, if you think about, I always think about what Mickey Mouse is to Disneyland, right?
Yeah.
That's an embodiment of the brand. Mickey Mouse says everything about what is whole and good and family oriented about Disneyland. It's the same thing with what we create with these characters. It embodies the brand. It is the interactive experience of that brand. And we customize it for each company.
I love that. That is, and you're so right. When you think about different examples like the Mickey Mouse, it's like, oh yeah, you're right. And people connect with that, and that's
powerful.
Yeah.
Really.
So if someone is looking into chatbots for their business and how it can be applied, what is their next step? What do they need to do to get started?
Well, you can go a couple different places. So you can go to my website, to chatbotnation.co.
Mm-hmm.
I've got a bunch of demos. You can see them. They're actually on phones. I think I showed you those.
Yeah.
So you can actually see them working and see what they're all about.
Because you do need to see it to get it.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing, Lindsay. A lot of people they've heard I've heard about this thing called chatbots, but what is it really all about?
Yeah.
But until you see a demo, then it's the mind just blows. So go look at the demos there. You can also go to slapshotstudio.com/chatbots. There's some there, and you can meet Wilson over there too if you guys want to go through that crazy thing I created and have some fun with Wilson. The contest is over, but you can still go play around with Wilson. And we're actually I've got on the back drawing boards Wilson 2. He's coming out.
All right.
So he'll be the next debut.
That's awesome. And I think, can you imagine if all of us entrepreneurs had chatbots and just to think what would it look like if it embodied my business and my personality?
Well, we actually are creating, we're creating chatbots that are if you for you, since if let's say you were a speaker, author, coach, right? Mm-hmm. We were creating chatbots that are the person. So we'd have the Lindsay bot and you'd be talking.
Really?
Yeah, it's an embodiment of that person.
Yourself? That's hilarious.
Yeah. So you could have your little bot character. Now you would do the voice, right? Because you're the voice of Lindsay.
Yeah.
But you'd have your character that speaks to your tribe.
Your peeps.
Yeah.
That is so cool. Yeah, I would love to see that in action. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I said at the beginning, a half an hour goes by fast, but I think you probably, yeah, blown a few minds out there. And if they definitely go to your website, and again, we looked at it together a couple of days ago. So it's, you need to see it visually in order to like really get it and see the full impact. It is totally the coolest thing I've ever seen. Yeah, so thank you so much for being on my show and for sharing the information. And yeah, we'll just see how this cool thing explodes.
Thank you, Lindsay. I really, really appreciate it. One last thing to leave with you guys is if
Yeah,
you want to rise above the noise, because there's, like
yeah,
Lindsay said, there's a lot of noise out there, a lot of competition. That's what that book behind me is all about. You gotta do something different. You can't
yeah.
just do something better. Chatbots are your way to be totally different. And with this relationship experience, you can make that human connection. And that is so key.
Yeah, I totally agree. Thank you so much, Peter. So that is it today, folks, for this special episode of Sailing to Success podcast show. You, of course, can check it out at smoothbusinessgrowth.com. And, of course, you can connect with my blogs and my videos and all of my other great content. And if you are looking to take your content marketing to the next level, check out my services on the Start Here page. So that is it, folks. Have a profitable and productive week, and may the winds always be at your back.